What's the promise, you think, of ATSC 3.0? What's the promise for the consumer?
I think for the consumer, what they're going to see is obviously better TV, better audio, more captions in more languages, so better accessibility. There's going to be interactivity, which is fun. It looks just like the web. So I think that from the consumer's point of view, there's going to be a lot there. I think the interactivity is going to be a very big deal, because imagine some of the kinds of content that ministries want to put out. They're always wanting to connect with their audience.
Right.
And the interactivity allows sort of one-click connectivity with your audience. So if you're interested in this topic, you want to learn more, click here. You want to order, a copy of the literature, you can click here. You want to, donate to the ministry now, you can click here. All of this available right through the television, and I think that's something that is going to be really interesting. But talk about interactivity. The killer app on TV is TV. And so people are very much interested in better pictures, better sound, 4K,
Right.
7.1+4 surround sound, voice boost, which is another really important thing, makes the voices louder than the background music if you want that. So a lot of people apparently watch with captions on, even though they might not consider themselves hard of hearing.
Right.
Just because the music and effects is a little bit louder than works for them, so you can turn the dialogue up. So there's a lot in there for the consumer watching television.
It's still a form of nonlinear television.
So you have both linear and nonlinear television. So the idea behind ATSC 3.0 is that it is a hybrid over-the-air streaming type of system. So if you have some content, for example, and you use over-the-top platforms, meaning streaming platforms, and you also use an over-the-air platform, you can actually bring those things together with this new system. So imagine that you are surfing around on the channels of linear television, you see something interesting, but you're coming in the middle of the program. And your television recognizes that you just started, and something could pop up and say, did you want to start this over again?
Because it's cached locally?
Well, it could be cached locally, or it could be streaming if you have a connected television. So you could say, yes, I'd like to start that over again. And immediately you're transported to a streaming experience, but you don't even know that. All you know is that you just got to start your program over again. So it's kind of this hybrid OTA-OTT system.
Right. Will it enable the kinds of interactive services that right now people are using their mobile telephones to respond back or participate with?
Yeah,
voting?
That's a very similar, that's an excellent example. Voting is a good one. Voting and polling, yep, I like it, I don't like it. Ability to personalize content. I'm from Boston, so I watch sports. And I have to tell you, I'm probably just never going to buy a truck. It won't fit in my garage. So please don't send me Ford F-150 commercials, because I'm not going to buy one, right? But with this system, you can say, okay, well, Madeleine, do you like trucks? Well, actually, no, I prefer cars. Okay, great. Now we're going to send you advertisements for cars. So that's kind of targeted advertising, which can be, I think, very valuable to the viewer, and it's also a good business model.
Can you opt out from it so that the thing that you happen to look at Amazon, but you decide it was too expensive, they won't hound you about it?
Yes, you can opt out.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's a very much sensitive to private information. I know from working with the television makers that they're extremely concerned about that piece. Everything, in fact, is opt-in.
Everything is
opt-in.
Oh, everything is opt-in. Right. Do you see it as more a step towards the Big Brother type of two-way television? And I'm not saying in a nefarious way, but the idea that you're more involved, and maybe if you want, like a FaceTime or Skype capability.
Yeah, well, certainly television can be more of a lean-forward kind of experience with this new system. So you picture lean-back experience, I turn the channel on, I lean back, I'm done. All I want to do is consume TV, and you can do that.
But you can do only that.
You can have that if you want, right. And you can also have the lean-forward experience that says, I want to interact with this thing, I want to select my content, I want to personalize my content, I want to participate in the vote or the poll, I want to do all these times. So it can go either way.
How about like what people see on, well, what we saw during the COVID lockdown, when you have Zoom of multiple people in a matrix across the screen.
Probably for that you probably wouldn't want a one-to-many system of broadcasting like this is, because the one-to-many system, everybody gets the same content. Right. So you think about using the best distribution network for the use case at the time. And you think about what ARC and HPE and TBN were just showing, it's like, okay, this content, we want everybody to get it. Whether it's the software of the Xbox download or whether it's the math lesson that all the students get. But when I'm going to have a one-to-one call with you, I'm probably better off on an internet or a Wi-Fi or, that kind of one-to-one data network.
Right. What's the return path?
So ATSC 3.0 is a television system, and the return path is actually via other networks. So in the case of the Spectra Rep, the little set-top box that the student uses, it gets the data in through the broadcast because everybody gets the same data, right? Everybody gets the lesson plan, everybody gets the video of the teacher, everybody gets the study materials, everybody gets the test, same test. But when they have questions, here comes my homework. Those things, that goes up through a different network, like a Wi-Fi or a cellular network. So the box actually has the ability to do both. And that's where the hybrid comes in. It's easiest when everybody's getting the same thing at the same time, you might as well use broadcast, because it's the best way to do it. But when, the student has a question or the student turns in their homework, might as well use the unicast because it's the best way to do it. So think about it like this. One of the things that Spectra was working with during the pandemic, they discovered that there is a digital divide for distance education. And one of the things that they discovered is that they thought there was going to be a lot of households with no broadband connection at all. But what they actually discovered was that there are many, many households with limited broadband. Like the only broadband in the house is mom's cell phone. And you got 3 kids. And they all have different classes, and they're all trying to watch Zoom, and they're trying to do it on one phone. Meanwhile, mom's not getting any phone calls or able to use her phone. So the idea is, well, why don't we use broadcast to send these kids the lessons? And then when the kids are ready to turn in their homework, they can connect through mom's phone and send it back. So we're not taxing mom's phone the whole time for all of these things. We're just using it for the small things that we need to get back up to the cloud.
Right. But can it be through a television experience rather than a computer monitor experience?
Sure, yeah, it can be. So the idea behind for example, the EduCast box is that it's a box that you would connect into a television set, like via an HDMI cable or something like that. Or you can have a smart TV that has, an internet connection. Like if you have a smart TV that you're streaming Netflix, you have an internet connection. So it works that way too.
Yeah. How important are the programmers to develop for it in terms of getting it sold in, or do you have to have the cart, so to speak, before you have the horse?
Yeah, it's interesting. You hear chicken and egg and cart and horse. I like to think about it as a 3-legged stool. It's not going to stand if you don't have 3.
3 elements.
One of them is you've got to have the receivers in the consumers' homes to receive it. The EduCast box, things like that. The other is you got to have stations able to broadcast, like the ARC stations. And the third is you got to have content that people want. And whether that's a B2B play, like was demonstrated here, or whether that's great television, whichever, that content leg has got to be there. Otherwise, why would the consumers care about getting a receiver? And why would the broadcasters then broadcast anything if there's nothing good to put out? So yes, the content producers are critically important, whether they're making linear TV or whether they're doing non-real-time data services or whether they're teachers putting out lesson plans. Whatever they are, the content is absolutely a critical element of the threesome.
That first leg that you mentioned was
the receiver device in the home.
Right. Who pays for that?
Well, right now it's a variety. So the consumers can buy things. You saw the television that was being raffled off. That's a set television from Sony, which is available at retail. And there are about 70 television models available on the market today. Sony, Samsung, LG, and Hisense all have televisions out there. And those are available for purchase for people who want new TVs. and they all do this technology. And then there are several set-top boxes that are coming out, some from HD Home Run Connect and some from Zapper boxes coming out soon. The Spectra Rep box is one that actually some of the state education systems are providing to students for free, because they have a budget and we need to teach these kids. And nobody gets to go to school, so we're going to send these boxes to kids' homes. So there's a lot of different ways of getting the receiver into the hands of the people that need it. And then in the case of, smart agriculture or, the first responders, it would be a question of having a unit on the first responders belt that's going to do it, or the self-driving tractors outfitted with the necessary technology to receive the signals.
So in terms of broadcast signal, it's still a one-way or one-to-many distribution model.
Yes, exactly right.
But it integrates broadband and collects it. Is there an industry of who will be competing for that back-end aggregation and collation?
Well, it's hard to say what's going to happen in the marketplace from the point of view of the broadcast technology. It's agnostic to what an uplink technology might be. It could be a 3G, a 4G, a 5G. It could be a Wi-Fi. It could be a Bluetooth. It could be who knows. Yeah.
Where are the test markets today in spring of 22?
Well, there's a lot of them. There's 50 of them. So
Phoenix.
Yes, and they're not test markets. They're commercial. Deployed commercially. Yep. You go to watchnextgentv.com.
How do you say it again?
watchnextgentv.com, and you will have a map of all of the markets that have, or cities rather, that have markets on the air.
2.0.
3.0.
3.0.
Yes.
And how about a list of the television manufacturers and the models that people wanted to shop now with an eye towards the future?
Same website, watchnextgentv.com. It's got the cities and the models, and which cities are coming soon. So if you don't see your city in the list yet, keep an eye out.
Very cool. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
And thanks for the standards.
Oh, you're welcome.
Yes, standards help.
It really does. Well, thank the membership, because they're the ones that do it. So